there's a whistleblower, or I should say there was a whistleblower, because now they're gone, just disappeared. And I know that sounds like very much like a crime junkie podcast intro and or the beginning of a bad thriller pod that you maybe would halfway listen to on a Tuesday driving to work, but I need you to stay with me here because the details of what this person allegedly exposed before they vanished are the kind of thing that should be all over the news right now, but just don't seem to be. And I want to start first with everyone's favorite grifter, Erika Kirk, because she just keeps coming up. She keeps being in the room, being adjacent to every single one of these moments, and she keeps saying absolutely nothing, at least nothing of substance, nothing that explains any of it. So there's this detail at the end of this that I need you to lock into. Don't jump ahead because if you miss the pieces that lead up to it, none of it's going to connect. So the thing that Charlie Kirk allegedly did right before he was reframes everything that happened after. And real quick, before we get into it, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is my four-legged boss and co-host. She might come running down and drop the ball on my lap at any moment, but we want to ask you to take a moment to please make sure you're subscribed. We currently have a lead on Katie Miller, wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, and pale white nationalist from Santa Monica. So consider every sub, every hype, every comment, 6 words or more, every action, every follow, every save, share, an FU to Katie and Stephen Little Bitch Miller. So let's first talk about where the money went, okay? Because we've covered in great detail the Turning Point USA action funds, the Turning Point USA tours, the merch. If you're not already in the know, this is exactly the kind of story that gets buried. The algorithm doesn't love this kind of stuff, and Erika Kirk's stuff seems to really be getting buried in my feed. So you being here means it doesn't disappear. And there is a $10 million question. There was a YouTube channel started called Statecraft. They published a video, and in that video, an unnamed insider, a whistleblower, if you will, came forward with a claim. The claim was this, that Erika Kirk and a man named Tyler Bowyer, a key figure inside Turning Point USA, allegedly mishandled something somewhere in the region of $10 million in donor funds. $10 million in donor funds that was supposedly raised through grassroots campaigns from regular schmegular people who believed they were supporting a political movement. The whistleblower said that the money wasn't going where donors thought it was going. And then the whistleblower promised to release evidence. And then what happened to that whistleblower? They vanished. And I want to be precise here because these are allegations that have not yet been independently verified. There's no official documentation that has been made public at this stage. So we don't know if this person withdrew voluntarily and disappeared from the face of the planet or was pressured or something else entirely. What we do know is that they made a very specific public accusation. They also promised receipts and then went radio silent. And it might sound like nothing, but it isn't. Whenever somebody who raises a flag on a lot of money and money laundering, something is usually going on. Because here's the thing about whistleblowers, they don't also usually disappear right before the evidence drops, okay? Because things are going great for them. That's not how it usually works. And we know that there was a lot of conversation around the Turning Point USA merch. Who's getting merch, who's scamming people, and who's getting hurt at the same time. So all of this is happening, and it's adding another layer. And this involves real people losing real money. We're talking about fraudulent merchandise websites that popped up immediately after Charlie was, and they have been operating under names designed to look like official Turning Point USA stores with sites named TP USA merch, Turning Point USA merch, TP USA/shop. They cloned the layouts and had the same branding. They even posted fake testimonials, countdown timers, 90% off sales that exist for one reason, to get credit card numbers before anyone thinks too hard about it. Capitalize on those impulse purchases, am I right? And the timing of this and when these sites were most active, right after Charlie Kirk was right in the emotional window when his supporters were grieving and wanted to do something. They wanted to use their purchasing power. They wanted to buy something. They wanted to feel connected to something bigger. So somebody looked at people in grief and saw an opportunity. Trustpilot reviews describe these sites as fraudulent. Social media warnings have been circulating for months. And people have also been crying out online saying they've received nothing or they received cheap knockoffs. And then they found themselves trying to get a refund from a customer service email that doesn't exist. Now, are these sites directly connected to Turning Point USA leadership? That has not been confirmed. But here's what has been confirmed. Donors were already raising complaints about official merchandise. Wrong orders, they were saying that they had missing items, no refunds, and they weren't getting any responses. And this was before the fake sites even entered the picture. Okay, so we've got to zoom out and give you that context. So keep that in mind. So then Erika Kirk, enter Erika Kirk. And her stories we know are ever changing. So let's talk about Erika Kirk specifically right now, because her name keeps appearing in places it probably shouldn't. And there's a pattern of inconsistency in how she has described her own history within the Turning Point USA organization. So Tyler Bowyer, whatever, who has remained a key figure behind the scenes at Turning Point USA, claimed that Erika reached out to him as early as 2015 to gain access to political circles. Erika has offered different versions of how her relationship with the organization began. She said it was maybe like chance meetings, professional introductions. Details shift a lot depending on who's asking. Now, people misremember things. We've also seen some clips of Erika not even remembering her wedding date or children's birthdays. Okay, timelines blur, sure, that's a human thing. But when you're the person now running an organization where $10 million in donor funds is allegedly unaccounted for and a whistleblower just evaporated into thin air and your late husband's financial audit results have never been made public, the inconsistencies aren't so small anymore. And that's when the story takes a turn, because here's what gets buried in all of this. Charlie Kirk, before he was arrested, had allegedly ordered a full internal financial audit of Turning Point USA. The results of that audit have never been released. Put a pin in that one, okay? We're coming back to it. So this is the audit that nobody wants to talk about. Charlie Kirk, whatever you think of him politically, you might be like me, who's somebody who fundamentally disagreed with pretty much all that he stood for. This man built Turning Point USA. It was his organization. He designed this. He built the identity of it. And according to reports, in the period before his death, he had grown suspicious of something happening internally. Suspicious enough to order a full financial audit. That audit was never completed. Or if it was, the results went nowhere and nobody knows about it. And the person who ordered it is shortly after his death, Erika stepped into a prominent leadership role. Tyler remained a central figure, and the organization continued operating as if the audit had never been requested. Now, is that suspicious? I don't know. It depends who you're asking. Probably. The timing could be coincidental. Maybe the audit was inconclusive. Maybe everything is completely fine, talking scenarios here, and it just happened to happen right before he got off, and the $10 million just happened to allegedly go somewhere unclear. Maybe, but the pattern becomes pretty obvious. And once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. And at this point, I thought, I understood all the situations, but I did not. Because here's the detail everyone seemed to miss. The whistleblower didn't just disappear. They didn't go quietly. They disappeared after making a very, very specific accusation about two very specific people. One of them, who is now running the organization, right at the moment they said they were about to provide evidence. And the question that nobody seems to be asking out loud is, who benefits from that person staying silent? Probably not Tyler Robinson, who's on trial for Charlie Kirk. He's in custody. Not Charlie Kirk either. He's dead. The people who benefit from a disappeared whistleblower and an unpublished audit and a missing $10 million, a $10 million gap that nobody is officially investigating are, if I had to guess, the people still there, still running things, still sending mailers, still wearing sparkly pantsuits and walking out on stages full of pyrotechnics, collecting donations like the Pope. From people who are grieving and loyal and trusting and looking for community, Erika Kirk is now the face of Turning Point USA. Tyler is still there behind the scenes. The organization is already reporting potentially eyeing some political ambitions for her. A larger platform. We've heard whispers. We've talked about it. Whispers of a 2028 trajectory. God hope us all. And somewhere there's a whistleblower who promised evidence and seemed to go real quiet real quick in an audit that was ordered by the man who is now 6 feet under potentially. And a $10 million that didn't go where it was supposed to go. Okay, it might sound like a coincidence, but I don't really think so. At the very least, it deserves an answer, a real one from people who are still cashing the checks, which brings us to the real question. Not like if any of this happened, but who's going to make them prove that it didn't? And here's what's underneath all of this: an organization that tells regular schmegular people that the elites are corrupt and coming for them, and that donors should trust them with their money because they're the ones fighting for the real Americans, fighting to keep women in the home and in the kitchen. That loyalty to that cause was the most important thing. And then, if these allegations are accurate, those same people allegedly took that loyalty and that bag of cash and did exactly what they promised to protect everyone from. We can't find the money for healthcare. We can't find the money for housing or student loan forgiveness or actual grassroots people, but we can always find the money for violence and Republican campaigns that say women belong in the kitchen. Okay, so $10 million in a fund that nobody can find. So pay attention to who's telling you to trust them the loudest. That's usually who's worth taking a look at. And if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. Follow us. I am Lauren P across all social channels. Soon we're coming to where you get your pods. So look for us, the Lauren Peritre Show, where you listen, and leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. We'll be back with more.